More fun with the homeless in Seattle. When is the city going to step up and do something about this problem?
Be advised, we got zips in the wire down here.
Roger, last Bravo 6. Can't run it any closer. We'll have to try and back and snake and nape, but we're bingo fuel.
For the record, it's my call. Dump everything you've got left on my pause. I say again, expend all remaining in my perimeter.
Coming to you from behind the lines in Washington State, local and national talk, news, and opinions. This is the Behind the Line podcast. So this is a report from Como News about that occurred Thursday, May 20th at Seattle's Broadview-Thompson K through 8 school. Seattle Public Schools say they believe a propped open door at Broadview-Thompson is how a man got inside the school building on Wednesday, forcing a lockdown. It happened around 8:20 in the morning. The kids had online class this day, although there were some kids in the building. And suddenly it stopped, and then later a teacher texted us that there was a lockdown, said Jeremy Hubble, the parent of a student at the school. The intruder was discovered inside the school after he startled a teacher as she was instructing students online. It's understandable there is concern about this, said Tim Robinson, who is a spokesperson for Seattle Public Schools. We are obviously concerned about how somebody could get into one of our buildings. Well, if you're propping open doors and there's a homeless camp on your school property, I guess it's not too much of a stretch to figure it out, is it? It's just insane to me that the school district continues to keep this position that they're okay with these homeless camps being on school property or next to the school property. The district says the man was also captured on surveillance video on the second floor of the school with a custodian's backpack, so he's in there stealing stuff. Big surprise. The lockdown went into place. Police got here and did a sweep of the building was done, said Robinson. About 15 teachers and staff were in the building along with 14 children at the daycare inside the school. So safe. So safe for those kids. The man was never found and the lockdown was lifted about 20 minutes later. It seems to be emblematic of problems that nothing is being done about, said Hubble, the parent. Yep. Very observant. Just a couple of weeks ago, Broadview-Thompson had a shelter in place after a man living at the homeless encampment behind the school on district property had a pellet gun. Again, are you sending your kids to this school? I mean, the school's number one job is to keep our kids safe and not worry about their activist aspirations of having homeless encampments on their school property. That day was also a remote learning day, so there were no students there when the lockdown went into place, although I'm assuming the daycare was operating, so you did have little kids there. The custodian's backpack was recovered, but it's not clear where it was found. Seattle police have not been able to connect the man to the encampment behind the school that has caused so many problems for the neighborhood and worry and concern for parents, but give me a break. That guy came from the encampment. Of course, they don't show the video on the news report, and I'm sure if they did, you would be able to clearly see that it's some homeless crazy dude. You know, I think it should be extremely concerning that they're venturing into the school building. They don't know if kids are there or not. How would you feel about some whacked out homeless guy coming into the school while your kids were there? They could do anything. They have all kinds of weapons. They could be high on drugs. They could have any kind of criminal history, sexual assault history. I mean, what is it going to take for Seattle to do something about this? It's going to take one of these kids being assaulted, raped, murdered, before the city actually steps up and then says, oh, well, maybe we should do something about this. It's just insane to me how the parents are not up in arms about this and how the city is so just unconcerned about it. Makes no sense whatsoever. In a similar story, but this is out of Pierce County, also on May 20th. This is a report from Cairo. Homeowners say they found a man who allegedly broke into a house in Roy on Tuesday. They say the stranger was trying to change the locks on a house that wasn't his, even filling the fridge with food. The incident happened around 1 p.m. on 284th Street East in Roy, Pierce County. The last owner of the house said he had just sold the property a week ago when he heard there was a problem. So he went down there to see what was going on and found that someone had broken into the house. They had the garage doors open and they were changing the locks. When the homeowner arrived, he found the man at the front door with locks and tools spread out. And this man was not charged with a crime. This is just the ongoing problem of allowing these homeless people to do whatever they want, and they're not being charged with crimes, they're not being arrested, and if they are, they're not being prosecuted by the prosecutor's offices. Why is that? Why are we allowing these people to just do anything and everything they want to with no consequences, no adherence to laws? That's clearly a trespassing at a minimum. More or less, it's burglary. And yet, no charges filed. These people are allowed to set up shop, set up their home wherever they want. They can steal from stores and not be charged. And stores can't even pursue them if they steal items from the stores. They can use drugs as much as they want to, right out in the open. They can walk around out in the open, completely high or out of their minds. Nobody says anything or does anything. There was an incident in Ballard last week where there was a woman completely naked laying by a grocery store in the middle of the day, and there's families and kids around, and she's acting completely out of her mind. And some bystanders call the police, who, when they arrive, they question her. She pretty much won't talk to them, and the cops basically tell the people there's nothing they can do. And the people, of course, are shocked. What do you mean there's nothing you can do? And basically the cops said they cannot do an involuntary commitment on a mental person like that unless that person agrees to it. Okay. And they can't charge them with public indecency unless one of the bystanders said that they were offended by it, which at that point, apparently, it was too late to say they were offended by it. But shouldn't it be obvious that we're offended by that kind of stuff? Some nasty, naked, homeless lady, who also, by the way, had menstrual blood rubbed all over her abdomen. Is that not offensive? Is all of this behavior and antics by the homeless and our city officials not offensive to you? Because this place has become a zoo, a carnival, a sideshow, and it's laughable. It's like it's surreal to believe that this stuff is even allowed to go on. You can't safely walk around the city, especially downtown, without being harassed or accosted or approached by one of these people. You can't even be standing on a sidewalk somewhere for more than a few minutes without being approached by somebody. You're going to stand out on a corner somewhere and smoke a cigarette? Well, that'll attract them from every which way wanting a free cigarette, when is this going to stop? Like, when is the city going to do their job and start protecting the taxpayers and do something about all the freeloaders and all these hotels the city is spending millions of dollars on to move the homeless into? And Queen Anne, they're coming for you next because they bought that in at Queen Anne. It's going to make that neighborhood a great one. But that is not the answer either, because, you know, the city puts all these rules on, you know, that you have to follow if you're going to stay in one of these homeless shelters like this. They don't want to follow the rules. That's why every time they sweep a homeless camp and they offer them services, they turn it down. All of them turn it down and go somewhere else. They don't want to live under any kind of rules. They don't want to not use drugs. So unless the city plans on allowing them to move into these hotels and not being bound to the rules of, you know, not having access to drugs, then this isn't going to work, and you're going to have a bunch of empty hotel rooms. You know, these people need to, the city just needs to take some of their big empty lots that they have around the city and let them set their tents up there, let them do their drugs there, have, you know, services available at that location, a mental health counselor, maybe a drug addiction counselor, maybe have a couple cops just to make sure that nothing gets completely out of hand. But unless somebody's willing to get drug treatment, they're not going to do it. And it's not going to do any good to force it on them. And the city's already decided they're not going to incarcerate these people. So you're just going to have to let them do their thing. But at least get them off the streets downtown, put them in an encampment, let them stay in their tents or do what they want to set up there, and you're just not going to be able to have the restrictions on them, at least for a while. I don't know what else, you know, what other feasible plan there is, but leaving these people on the street is not working, and it's not the humane thing to do. You know, more than half of these people can't even take care of themselves in any way. I don't know how they survive from day to day, especially during the winter and inclement weather. You see them running around half-dressed, no shoes, no socks, no coats. Yeah, the city needs to move them. You know, these hotel things aren't going to work because I guarantee they're going to want these rules and restrictions on them, but the city's got plenty of open lots that they could set their camps up in and do what they want, and the city could be down there offering services. These people need mental health counseling first and foremost. Drug addiction counseling second. The city's got to step up. They're dumping hundreds of millions of dollars on this, and it's doing nothing. It's getting worse. Got people coming from all over the country because they know Seattle's going to give them whatever they want, let them do whatever they want. Man, it is time for some change.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Behind the Line podcast. I hope you will subscribe to the channel so you can get regular updates. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, I hope you will also like it, share it, and subscribe on YouTube as well. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Anchor, Spreaker. We're on various other podcast platforms. And you can find me on LinkedIn under John Washington. Again, thank you for listening. We appreciate your support.